corridor.
Yes. And people claim that we're in the shoreline protection district, but if you read the definition, we're not.
No, I don't think you are.
We're in the village district.
You are.
Yeah.
And it's possible they could have moved that, they're too far away.
Yeah. And the drainage is not, we don't drain into the pond drains into us.
Yeah.
I live in a place that drains into our basement. We get 3 feet of water each 24 and 24. But after that, you have the basement reconfigured, trenches dug, 2 large cast iron sump pumps put in. Since then, we haven't been flooded, but it also didn't increase our flood insurance.
Yeah. Flood insurance would not have helped us. We don't have flood insurance.
Mhm.
It doesn't cover land.
Doesn't cover one.
Flood
only
insurance
property.
doesn't cover
Oh, no, it
land.
doesn't cover one.
Yeah, just the housing and whatever property is in the basement that normally should be in the basement. I handled insurance claims for 38.5 years, and the biggest pains in the neck were the flood claims. Because you're dealing with a bunch of government people who are doing this, not because they know anything about insurance, but because there's a certain level of flood insurance personnel, and they go by a book.
Anything else?
No, that's the whole point.
Terrific.
Basically, we're in a flood zone and we're valued at the same as people who aren't in the flood zone. And
You're gonna get a copy of that if you're gonna submit that. It's-
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think that was in what I sent back to you.
I'm very much.
Just like, I pulled an older Lister card out. What do they value your property at this time?
I didn't actually write that down. 233.2.
How many do you think for them?
I'd also add that, you can't live there without a plug net. Yeah, 125 to 233. And you might note, if you look at the properties I've used as comparables, I only picked things that were land and dwelling, not land and camp.
Right.
Different.
No, that's, you've done all the work for us, which is terrific. Thanks.
So I was a lister in Middlesex. They wrote me in and said, "Oh, you know a lot about buildings, your insurance, you could be a lister." So when people ask me, would I volunteer, I said, no, I've been to hell, I don't have to.
And not going back there. No. If people have reasonable concerns, it's fine for us to deal with it, and if they come in and they don't understand, we explain it to them and they go away. Hopefully, we don't have customers that are bitching and moaning their whole lives about the listers. Because,
We did have 2 guys that owned adjacent mobile homes, and one came in to grieve. And we sort of, in the discussion, well, I don't think that matters. Well, they'll probably know about that. And he finally got up and said, well, you guys aren't gonna help me, I'm leaving. The other guy said, yeah, there's no point in me talking, I'm leaving. We eventually lowered the first guy because we figured out, yeah, he's right, we were wrong. The other guy wouldn't grieve, he got nothing.
Yeah.
So, come and say it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to make the bitch and moan.
I bet you won't. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah, the older you get, the more you bitch, the less you moan.
there you go.
There you go.
I moan all the time, it's out about this.
Anything else, you guys? We're good? You good? Okay, thanks, Michael.
Okay. Time for breakfast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, you did get my mailed paperwork, because I tried to send it through the email 5 times and it wouldn't go. Yes, that's it.
Okay, yeah, we have it, so.
So we have I took pictures of the house, and there's no electricity, but there's also no running water, never has been, no bathroom.
No plumbing whatsoever.
no plumbing whatsoever.
Yeah.
We didn't know how he lived until about 9 years ago.
He moved in with us.
Yeah, he moved in with my sister. And we took a dumpster recently
Yeah, probably.
and cleaned out as much as we could of the
Everything.
crap that was in there.
Right, a hoarder.
He was definitely a hoarder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I can. photo
Anything to do with
those
cars,
notes so that
we have a
can-
whole container full of car parts that we don't know what to do with, but we're just.
Well,
gonna get-
somebody can make a lot of money with it.
Yeah, if somebody
Don't
has
send
the
it.
time to put it, we might be throwing them away.
Yeah, so
But these are the pictures
Okay.
of what it looks like, and he actually lived there, and I don't know how long he lived there,
Yeah.
because I live south.
Oh, the car- John's more,
Are they kind
the car parts.
No,
You
but
can follow us.
we're going there after this to
Where is
take pictures. It's on
40
Blatchley
Blatchley
Road.
Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, there's a big container on it.
He's a big car enthusiast.
So
That was his
And
passion.
cars in the woods. We're gonna get another dumpster to try and clean it up.
It's adjacent to work out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we love
Oh,
to.
we know.
I know, we know that street.
Yeah.
Wow, there were a lot of vehicles
There
there.
were,
Oh,
but not
yes,
anymore.
not anymore, but we still have a couple.
Yeah.
John, we'll have to go visit, site visit, just so we can see the cars.
Pieces of marble or granite that he put on top of the dirt, but the walls are on dirt, so the walls are rotting.
You're missing improved floor. You gotta check that.
Wait, marble flooring, and that's a.
No, it does, that-
Yeah, if the dirt didn't come up, it would be wonderful. Yeah,
All right. I
so
always wondered who was.
and what did it sell for?
112.5.
Oh, probably more than that.
Well, there's no
my God.
dwelling value, there's no money on.
There
it.
is no dwelling valley, no. It's a shed.
It's just a lot of
Yeah.
water and septic right now, if that's accurate.
There
It
is
doesn't
no,
have
no
septic.
septic,
No
no water, no,
Cause when I got the,
not sure. Well, he was at the base, down at the store in East Calais all the time, every morning. He had his coffee and donut and probably went to the bathroom there.
Is there anything on the site? Is there a building still there?
Well, the building is there, yes.
Okay,
It's
So you
like a
still gotta
shed.
clean up.
Yeah, we still have some cleanup and stuff to do, but we did a lot.
all
Believe
right,
me, we did a lot.
So it's basically the value of the lot minus the cost of the cleanup.
well, we've already spent a lot, you know.
You know what I mean? Like say when the lot's all cleaned up, it's ready to go, it's worth 100,000. If you've got 10, 15,
An acre and a half is worth 100,000 with no septic.
I'm just throwing numbers.
Oh, okay,
Are you
okay.
kidding? That's,
Well, yeah, building lot in this town is 75 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's true.
you can't build on that.
That's what I'm trying to find out. What's it gonna
Yeah.
cost to get it to a marketable lot?
I don't know. Well, the other house, the house that we grew up in
Mhm.
caved in and it's behind this dwelling.
And all this needs to be cleaned out.
We're not cleaning that.
Right,
house.
but if
Yeah.
you wanted to sell it, if I wanna buy it to build a house there for my family, I gotta clean this mess, or you gotta clean this mess. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out.
Yeah,
Okay. So we've got.
Or
we've
you
got
sell it
some
as is and.
That's right, if we sell it
right.
as is.
We sell it as is
Right.
because we're willing to pick up his trash. But I'm not taking however many, they never put a real foundation in and that's why it caved
Right.
in. He had it on cinder blocks partially.
That was the original house.
Yeah.
Jacked
Yeah,
up
yeah,
and it never, I mean.
yeah, we grew up.
We left when we were teenagers because we
Yeah.
could live and pay for ourselves to live in better conditions than
Sure.
that.
No, good for you guys.
So
Yeah.
we just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
And
Well,
it's,
that's good.
So it's
That's
whatever a lot is minus the cost to get it there.
right. Yeah, no, great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that helps us to,
do you guys wanna keep the pictures?
I did put the.
we pretty much understand it. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah,
just
there's
the,
really nothing there.
just the fact that it's,
I'd
yeah,
like to see them. I'm trying to figure out what it's gonna cost to clean this up, 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, it's gonna cost some money to clean this.
40
stuff up.
grand.
Well, this is just the house.
Yeah,
Right,
So the rest
Oh,
of
that's
the
what I'm trying to
camper
get.
that he slept in is inside the house.
he built around it.
He built around it.
right.
Yeah,
That was his bedroom.
that was his bedroom.
I know, you know? It's just the way he was. He didn't care. He was fine. His cars were his life, so,
Yeah.
you know? Unfortunately, most of the time we weren't. But
It's like living in a little house on the prairie, you know?
I think
think
they might
worse.
have lived better.
They had a closer well.
Oh, yeah,
We
they'd
had
have to go
well-
as far to get the bucket of
We
water.
had to
We had
go
a stream that they blocked off and we used to get buckets of water
and carry it up to the house.
all the time.
Yeah,
We had wood
Well,
stove, we had a wood
Welcome to the
stove.
2000s.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
but you know what? We didn't know any different.
Of course.
We didn't know different.
I did. Cause we lived in Belchertown, Massachusetts, and we owned a business
Yeah, I
there.
was only 7 when we lived
I know.
there, so.
But, and I remember us running the business and him working nights at a machine shop and he had cars, we would sand them in the living room, body parts, because he always did that. But, and my mom didn't drive.
So just so John and I can have permission to go take a look at the parts and what's up there, is that okay? We just.
Well, we have all the parts in a crate, it's in a tractor.
It's in a,
It's in a trailer.
Yeah,
in
it's in a bed.
And
cargo
it's locked.
Yeah, locked. Oh, yes,
It's
of course
yeah,
it's
it's
locked.
locked.
He got robbed once and a lot was taken.
Oh,
And it was years and years ago.
right.
And they said there's
Nothing they could
no
do.
chance you're gonna get any of that.
Yeah, he always had car parts, buying car parts all the time.
No more cars in the yard.
Just
There's
some
a
old ones.
convertible, there's one that we don't think we can get out at all because trees fell on it. And there's a chassis for some kind of big truck, but my stepdad is gonna help us take the convertible and that chassis for metal.
Oh, yeah.
Because we don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And we're gonna.
But he had all the cars cleaned up quite a while ago. My
Oh,
father did, yeah,
oh,
they came
That's what he
crushed
paid
them
for the
and,
container.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, terrific.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the container, that container's gonna stay on the land. Because Brooke wants to buy it,
Okay,
because he wants to make his driveway.
right.
So if he's not gonna build on it, it's just, he really just, so he has his own driveway, cause his father charges him to use the other one.
Cause he used to call us
His
sporadically.
father said he couldn't use the other one?
He
charges
charges him,
He charges him rent on the driveway.
yeah.
Do you know, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying anymore, cause you know. him.
Yeah, we're familiar with.
Okay, yeah.
No, he
Nice,
charges them to
nice.
use the driveway, so, you know, we're fine with selling it to him, you know, and everything,
Yeah.
it's, and he knows he knows the property.
And the
Sure.
shape it's in.
Yeah.
If we need a boundary line adjustment to accommodate the new driveway, just come into the town office.
Okay, I think he would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't want him to have to be the one that does this, because he's not gonna own
He's
it
not
to
benefiting
do the
from,
grievance. We want to get the true value of it,
Right.
so that.
cause we
he-
knew it wasn't worth 112.5.
Yeah, I know, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause the mice even moved out.
yeah.
Hey,
When we cleaned it out, there was not one mouse in there. We found nests, but not one mouse. I said, they didn't even like it here.
Is that, because it was such a toxic environment?
We wore hazmat suits with, air things.
I
We
still,
did,
we're in
really,
the car
we
right
did.
now because we're going.
You should have come to
today.
the grievance hearing with those. With a.
Oh, with the mask.
Hazmat and a mask.
No, but I do have a picture. of it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it was,
It's okay.
We've cleaned up a lot of it, but
we have.
we're going today to get the TVs because I live in Hyde Park and I can take the any
Yep.
electronic
And dump
thing
it
for
with-
free.
for free.
So
Yeah.
she's gotta help me get the TVs in the back of my car so that we can then go and get rid
There's
of
only
them.
yeah, there's one big one, so.
Yeah,
we do
really
that,
big.
but We
Well,
got rid of most everything.
thanks for coming in, best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
It was
you.
nice to meet you, but
How long
Nice
does
to
it
meet
take
you
to
guys.
know and hear?
Oh,
Oh, that's,
About a week from now, we'll send you
They'll probably send it to you.
I got the town report, so I'll probably
Yeah,
get
you'll-
cause I think I'm listed
Could've
first
got
on the
Hyde Park.
mailing address.
6:30,
Hyde Park.
you drive it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
where
me.
she is,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you
I'm
you
in,
get a,
I'm in St.
you
Helens.
get a change of appraisal
Okay,
notice from.
Cause she was away and I just sent her a picture of it.
Yeah,
And I
can see
said,
that.
there's no way, but I
Yeah.
didn't know a
Well-
lot of land was $75,000.
But if the land is worth 75 and it's gonna cost me 10 to clean it, it's only worth 60. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was trying to
Okay,
get
yeah,
at, yeah.
right, right.
I know how much we
Right.
spent just on the dumpster the last time.
Oh, yeah, it's expensive, especially if they
getting-
find lead or asbestos or something.
No, there's nothing
No.
like that.
That would have been a house that somebody put together correctly back then. That's not.
So you're not looking at hazardous.
No,
No.
it's actually logs on the dirt. And then he
No,
put
there's
the
no
marble
hazardous
down
things.
so that he would have something.
I know, the
not-
marbles were some.
I was
It
gonna
is.
say, the marbles.
But I
heard
don't
that.
wanna get rid of that either. I mean, I have my own house, she has her own house, and we both work, so
Yeah,
it's not something we have the time to do. And Brooke is a wonderful man.
Yeah.
And he's wanted it forever. He actually called this, he didn't know, he called us the day after my dad died. And he just wanted to see how he was, cause he always wanted to check on him. And I said, Brooke, he passed away yesterday. And he's like, oh my God, Peggy, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have called. I said, no, that's fine. And I said, and you're still the person who's getting the property because you deserve to have that
my
property.
father didn't want us to sell it at all.
Right.
But it's like, what are we gonna do with it?
Could continue to do an organic farm, and he's probably not be toxic there.
No,
Ugh,
but
I just don't want it. No offense, but the black flies are awful. I was
Oh,
up
yeah.
there 2 weeks ago and felt like I was
Oh.
being carried off.
I live up the hill and they're awful in my house too. so-
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
it's-
awful everywhere, so.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
been-
cabin fever in spring.
yeah.
yeah, and I live in St. Albans. I don't know. We don't get it. My daughter's in Fairfield, which is just over the hill, but it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're like all over everywhere, but they're they are in the woods, but no, I didn't get them that bad.
It's bad there.
So.
That's why I told you. Brenda,
There's no
that's
wood,
right.
but
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much for listening to us. Have a good day.
You as well.
And if
So you know.
Do you have, a kind of a form letter that I need to be feeding into?
Yeah, there's a grievance letter. It's pretty
On the
straightforward.
back
We'll
page.
we'll make you a copy of it.
First, I wanted to address two things that are. One is incorrect, and then, thank you. In the listing of, I think. You have the house down as 5 bedrooms.
Okay.
There's 4 bedrooms.
Okay, so we'll fix that.
Okay. Yeah. And, a general concern. So, here, you wanna make copies of this?
Anything that you're gonna submit, we'll make copies of. Anything that.
I don't have a letter, I have notes.
That's okay, but anything that you wanna present to them, I'll just have. pass them
So-
on with a copy.
The house was built in 2 phases. The camp was pre-existing. The front part of the house. In 1975, and the rear was built in around 1986. The camp portion is very under constructed. And it, comprises 51% of the square footage of the house. So. Even though it looks like the comps, its heart is not like the comps, it's heart and soul. So. I guess, well. It's definitely larger than Steve Perkins. Down Ben Kamali Road. But he's assessed for less. Than I am, and he's got 2 dwelling units. He has a finished garage that's like a separate unit, so I thought that was a little off. And he has 2 times the land that I do, but I know that land doesn't count all that much, but,
Right.
Kind of found it. I found it almost impossible to find comps in here because there's no indication of number of bedrooms, or in some cases, hard to find names. If you could think of somebody whose house was similar, it was
Right.
not easy to find comps, so. I was looking, actually, my previous comments were based on the the database
Right.
information. So that was. Yeah, so I felt it was a little on the high side based on those things, and I
Right,
had
so,
really
so.
had
the-
nothing
the
much
front-
else to
the
tell
front-
you.
The front part was a camp with less, quality of construction as opposed to the rear half.
Yeah,
And it's
it
about
has the
50%,
crawl
it's
space.
like 50-50.
Yeah,
So it's a crawl space in the front, but a full basement in the rear,
right.
okay,
And 2x4 construction in the
Right.
front part. And 2x6 in the
Okay.
rear.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
What's the square footage of the front part?
um. I have it computed here, but I can't.
Do you have a
So
drawing?
I think 1280,
Oh,
What's
wait,
that?
wow,
I think. You, oh, well, I figured it here, okay, so. 640 on the first floor, 640 on the second floor, so 1280.
And that's over a crawl space.
That's over the crawl space.
Okay.
So that would be. What do I do? 480, wait a minute, no. No, strike that, no, it wasn't 640, because I was counting the, which said, yeah, so 480 is 960.
Okay.
So, divided by whatever you said the total.
1873.
1873, yeah. But, I don't have a calculator, but.
Oh, that's right. So anything else that you want to let us know?
That's
So
really, I
essentially
just
it's,
really wanted to correct the input information so
sure,
that
yeah,
it will-
mhm.
if that was reflected in the
Right, well,
assessed
sometimes
value.
it's not obvious for the, for the appraiser.
Well,
I understand some of that, so
Yeah,
information you bring to us helps us to readjust.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that I felt was like a major
Yeah,
dislocation.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
great, okay, that's all we need. You need a form filled out, right? Or do you, does she
Just a
just need to
signature
sign
and a
it?
date.
Huh?
Just that a signature and a date on that piece of paper. If you guys are gonna accept it, right? The deadline was yesterday, but you guys are cool with
No,
this.
that's okay, so just,
I'll be happy to.
just sign it and date on the bottom there, and
Okay.
we'll do all the other paperwork.
And what kind of crawl space is? Yeah, does it have a concrete floor or do you?
No, it's dirt,
It's dirt.
dirt.
So is it on piers or?
Yeah. It's on tubes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Brilliant. Yeah, the rest of that is just the span number and all the other data that you don't have to remember, it's just a form that we.
Signing a blank check.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say, I put a line through that, but, yeah. And we're being recorded. I'm drawing a line, X on that. We're not
Okay.
gonna put anything on there that says we own your house.
Okay,
I
well,
wouldn't
at least
have signed it either,
you'll
but-
know what kind of house it is.
Yeah, we're good. We're
Depends
good.
what kind of house you're
I'm
getting.
gonna staple that right to this.
Okay, I thank
great,
you.
yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to hear about Art,
Consideration.
Marge, I'm sorry to hear about Art.
Thank you.
well,
So this is the Gary Schultz
Got it.
property.
Right,
We
now we're
talked a
talking.
little bit about it in advance.
Got it.
I showed him pictures of the
The White House.
crumbling
Yeah,
foundation.
yep.
So spiel away.
Yeah, I just, Dad actually said, he goes, I don't even know if you need to go to it this morning, me coming here, but, he said, well, they're opening up, so he said, we probably should just go and say something, you know, kind of thing, so I don't know,
So can you confirm that there's no septic whatsoever connected to the house?
Yes.
There's something there?
yes, there's not, and the pipe is disconnected on the back. I was looking at it today, or even this morning, but I saw it the other day too, but like where that foundation's collapsed, that is, the pipe is severed. The water, there's no running water in there. The pipes are all burst in there.
Is there a spring or a wellhead or?
There is a well on the property.
Drilled well.
It's a drilled well and, it is. And that was like, as Dad and I were talking about it, we're not even like, if we ever wanted to bring that house like up to standard. Wherever we put the septic, the well is like probably where the septic would have to go. So that is one issue where I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure that has any bearing on this, but we were just but we have no desire to, the house is in such a state of disrepair. There's no desire to, make it habitable. Dad wants to tear it down.
Right.
Okay. It was always, it originated as a camp, and again, I don't know how much this dad probably might have conveyed to you already, Toby, but it started as a camp. The lady that lived there, kind of like haphazardly like added on to it, but it was never done right. It was always done really poorly, and so it was never a quality structure, far from. And then towards the end of her life, she just kind of just gave up on it. She lost interest. It started deteriorating, and that's when my parents, my folks bought it. And it was just in a state of complete at that point, even at that point, years ago, of like utter disrepair. But since then, it's just gotten worse, where the point where you saw that, Toby, but, the back foundation totally collapsed.
Yeah, I showed them pictures.
Yeah.
We're familiar with.
Pipes are burst, there's no electricity, and she stopped heating it and the pipes burst when she was still like, the previous owner still had it. Cause it didn't make it through the winter. And so there's no running water. It's just completely, it's the point now where it truly is, I know this was in the letter, but it's truly a liability, not an asset. If we ever let's just say we wanted to try to bring that up into a habitable state, it would be cheaper and easier to tear the whole thing down and just rebuild it. It's at that point, it's beyond repair.
We'll probably look at it as fact that we're gonna tear it down, so we'll assess it as the piece of property with a site for a house in the future.
Okay,
Less the cost of what it would be to remove the existing structure, so.
okay,
I mean, that's how we think we'll probably approach looking at your property there.
okay. The only question I have, and I don't know if this would come into play, is I think that as far as like the site being prepared, if the site is prepared for another structure, there is the well, but the septic isn't there, and I don't know where the septic would go. So there's no septic. I know sometimes like, my sister's a realtor. I'm not, obviously, I don't know, but sometimes when I'm like just flipping through the newspaper, I'll see like, hey, this site is all ready to be built on. It's got a septic, or maybe even a permitted septic. It's got a well drilled, it's ready for a house kind of thing.
Right.
This would not be at that state, so
Right.
as long as you guys knew
No,
that.
we understand, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we understand that.
There's no wastewater, there's no septic approval for that lot?
No.
Okay. that's-
No.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't need approvals back when they built that house.
Yeah, it was,
It was a 55-gallon drum with a hole in it.
Got it.
Yeah.
What is it?
And that's probably, if you look, you'll find it.
probably if we start digging,
We could probably get a metal detector.
yeah.
It might be an old Volkswagen that's got buried with a pipe going in.
The old days.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah, right.
Cool. Anything else you need to tell us? I mean.
No,
All
if-
the information I think we need.
Yeah, and if you guys, I took some more pictures, but I know Dad had said, Toby, that you took some, so if you guys want more pictures and you don't wanna drive out there, just email Dad or call, get a hold of a Schultz.
Yeah.
And we can go out there and take pictures for you and send them to email and just whatever.
So we'll look at your concerns and we'll send you a letter that says, what we've changed and what your new
Okay.
listing would be.
Perfect. That
Great.
sounds good.
Terrific.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for coming in.
You too. Lisa's not.
You can use whatever language you're familiar with. So yeah, we're good. So give us what you are interested in telling us. All of that, okay.
This shouldn't take long because it's all in there. Do you have copies of it?
Yeah, we're all set. Just explain to us what your concerns are.
If you wanna emphasize anything and pound it home, this is your shot.
So it's basically probably one of the only summer day camps on Phillips Pond.
Mhm.
No shower. No bathtub.
Okay.
No, and the land, as opposed to most others. There's a 6 by 9 foot level section on the pond side of the road, that's it.
Okay.
So you gotta, if you're out there in the summer and you wanna see the sun, you gotta sit on the deck.
Oh, yeah.
And you gotta get to the pond on the deck. You know, plus the camp is like 60 amp service and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be it.
No worries.
That's from the road looking down.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, no, typical.
Camp, what camp's supposed to be,
That's what camp is.
you guys know what?
No, I'd like to see.
A camp is someplace you can stay more than a day, right?
This is a day camp, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Camp.
Cool. Son Curtis.
What's the condition? Is it built in the 50s or
I think it was 64.
64? So 2x4 construction. Just bare walls on the inside,
Well, no, there's tongue and groove.
pine.
I haven't been out there in so long. There's tongue and groove on both floors.
Okay,
The ceiling is choice.
yeah.
That's all.
Open joist.
You know, with wires, you can see the wires. The supposed cellar is 2 6x6s on the outside posts in front. The rest are 4x4s.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see that. See that post there.
Yes, that's the 6x6. You go back to the 4x4s.
Cause it must have moved around a little bit at this point, no, it's been there 60 years. Little settling, it must have, but it's been there that long, is it sitting straight still, is the camp still pretty straight?
As far as I can make it.
Okay,
These posts are starting.
yeah, I would expect it, yeah, especially built into the bank like that,
Yeah.
I get to do a little moving.
Now, it's been better to look at it from, in the summer. So you would have seen that,
This would have been,
a half toilet or whatever you call it, or
I think they went
bathroom.
there back in October, they went there and looked at it.
Yes,
took
I know.
pictures, yeah,
It was closed in October,
yeah,
but this is that's the deck right there.
mhm,
And there's when we first bought it, you had to walk down a bank on the other side of that. Go through a door and walk out that way, get to the water. Oh, yeah,
yeah, that's how,
yeah, you'd walk down that way.
yeah, and
And the next picture is my son that never came around.
it's there,
Yeah,
that's what they had, pictures.
but you can see the
Oh,
land.
yeah, you gotta walk down, you're not just driving your groceries down there.
You don't take
Carrying
groceries down
everything.
there because you don't eat.
That's right, you pack a lunch and hope you bring it with you.
But I put everything in the,
Yeah, I read through the thing and.
Yeah.
I'm reading through.
Yeah, your letter is very descriptive.
That was perfect.
because the last time, because it's really a day camp.
Right.
Even my daughter won't stay out there. She likes to take a shower,
Oh, yeah,
and you can't do it. I mean,
bucket of
you
water.
sure do it in the water. The state may have a problem with all the soap.
Well, they test the pond water, it's been pretty good, okay, for the last couple of years, they test it every year. For cook.
Yeah, well, put a lot of soap in it and see how it is.
Is there a septic system?
Hmm?
There's no septic system
no-
or
there's no
anything there?
Yeah, there's a
Just a.
septic system, which I have no idea
got
what
it.
it is, other than it's probably a 55-gallon
Yeah.
drum. Nobody,
Yeah.
it's not used.
Right.
Yeah, I was the sewage officer for a while, and Eva Morse and I decided we should get purple pills and drop them in every toilet on the pond and flush and see what comes
Yeah,
out.
I was hoping you'd do that to mine so I could see where it is.
Yep,
You can usually tell by the amount of lily pads.
that are growing right around where. Yeah, there you go, thanks. Good, so, yeah, we have a greater understanding now of what
Right,
the issues are. And what-
The property, I mean, if I sold that thing.
Right.
Nobody could live there in the winter, so they could probably have to build in back. You know, the other side of the road,
Other side of the road, right,
because that's somewhat level.
right,
Well, altitude, as I said, is level,
right,
but all there are is, tree stumps and all that stuff.
yeah.
Well, as it is, if someone's gonna live there year round, you have to get a change of use, and that would mean you have to get a septic permit from the state.
I'm all plugged up to the,
If you decided to live there year round, or if anyone wanted to live there year round, it would be a change of use. And that would require the state reviewing the septic. You'd have to get a new engineered septic system.
shit goes downhill, payday's Friday, that's all I know.
Yeah, no, I know, but that really puts a limit on what you.
Well,
can do
yeah,
with the
but,
property,
but,
yeah.
but. Somebody could live there, if somebody wanted to live there year round and. Bake it by putting in some, 120-volt heaters,
No, they couldn't, they're,
bring in their water.
at a camp designation, they're only entitled to live
Yeah,
there
but that's if you
180
guys find
days.
out.
180 days, so longer than that, they'd have to get a change of use.
Yeah, well. 180, most of both camps, or no. The people I know on the pond with camps are there probably from at least June to October. The place, 40 years ago, there was one person that was there.
Yeah, it's pretty busy.
And, of course, 40 years ago was a mud pond. Everybody
Right.
called it. Nobody wanted to buy there.
Right. Cool. All right, so we'll take a look at that and we understand what the issues are and, you'll get a notice probably within a week or so of what, if anything has changed in your evaluation. And, if you're not satisfied with that, it will describe, the next step would go to the Board of Civil Authority if you're not comfortable with what we've decided, but.
Well, if you're gonna send it to Montpelier, have fun. In March, I got my Christmas cards that was forwarded from.
Well, maybe we'll hand deliver it then, just because,
Please do.
yeah, maybe we'll just do that. I get the-
2209 West County Road?
I don't know.
That's where it goes, right?
No.
2209 West County Road.
No, there's a,
That's the mailing address that's on record.
No, actually, there's,
That's what's on this sheet right here. I just want to make sure you got the right address.
it should be on the sheet that I sent.
Yeah, it's, hang on a second.
on his email, there's an address on the top. On his letter.
Yeah.
It's, 6 Mather Terrace.
Yep.
That's it. 6 Mather Terrace, Montpelier, Vermont.
2209 West County Road, Calais, Vermont. That's what I had for mailing address. That's where the tax bill goes. If you guys wanna change it, you better get on it. That's where the notice
Tax bill
goes.
doesn't go there.
That's where the tax bill goes. This is the link right to the town clerk's computer.
That's not me, number one. Oh, Jesus.
That's not you.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong paper. I'm sorry.
what do you need?
CPO 645.
What is that?
645.
Geez,
I got the wrong number here.
What's their taxes?
See, yeah, I know, throw them off,
Well,
right?
it's like FedEx delivering to all the wrong houses, if you
There-
tax bill
there's-
just goes anywhere.
Theirs was actually way more than yours. You wouldn't want their tax bill. It was like $1 million. Their assessment. Let me make sure. I just wanna make sure they got your right address. There we go. Right guy.
That's
6
where I get
Mather
the bill.
Terrace. Okay, good.
Right, we can find you.
MHHER Terrace, 6 Mather Terrace.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
bring back to the capital.
Great, well, thanks for the info and,
Okay.
we'll take a
thank
look at
you.
things and.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever wanted to look at the lot compared to the other lots, that's the big thing.
Yeah,
And I do have a question.
Mhm.
On the sheet, it says the lot is 1.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that mean it's equivalent to a good lot on Champlain like it used to be?
No, this is just Calais. That grading system is developed just for Calais, but it does mean that it's considered an average lake lot, which is probably a concern, right?
It's a big concern.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, no,
Right.
right. That's the point we're
Yes.
gonna look
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, also, so Calais changed
We have a completely
The
different land
definition of lots.
schedules. Yeah, everything's different.
because last time, 15 years ago, was a perfect lot was equal to 1 on Champlain
Well, not cost per foot.
and kept going down from there.
So we have some, we can change the rating based on our knowledge of what the site is, so, yeah. So we'll apply that.
I gotta ask you guys a question. Why in the state of Vermont doesn't the appraisal, the fair market value reflect what somebody buys a camp for, or a house or whatever? And
Well, I bought my house in 1988 for 159,000. It's now worth 619.
right, but somebody next to you who bought a house for 22, sold it last year for $1 million, is being appraised for roughly what you're being appraised for. I mean, it seems to me that the fair market value, the perfect fair market value is the sale of the house. And at one time, after, like every 5 years or something, you have a statewide appraisal.
Right.
Or, citywide appraisal or something like that.
Well, so essentially in Calais, what we're trying to do is be equitable across the whole span. So it's not necessarily what happened out there or over there. It's like all the properties from the worst house. to-
Right, I know why they do it,
That's right.
but the question is the fair market value of Ed Ryan's camp, when he sold it, was $190,000, because that's what he sold it for, and they put a big addition and all that stuff.
Right.
So,
Well, so the other thing that happens, and we do this every year, there's an equalization study for properties that have sold in Calais. So we look at the last 3 years of sales, and that tells us what the fair market value is. And that ratio is then applied to all of the valuations.
oh, okay,
So essentially, we do it, what they call it equalization study every
Yeah.
year. So we look at the 25 sales or 30 sales that happened, and those are all statistically put in so that the cost, the dispersion over all the properties in town is fairly applied. And that's how, so if somebody wanted this house really bad and paid 500,000 more than it was really worth fair market value, we throw it out. So because that screws the whole, but we can't control.
yeah.
That's the unfair market value.
Well, the true market value is what the sucker paid for it.
That's true. Well, there's a sucker born every day.
Oh, geez, in Montpelier, they're full of them.
Anyways, thanks, Ray. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
get back to you in Montpelier. For sure.
Leanne, did you get to? I'm sorry, this report, the state requires you to record these, but I remember when you came in the first time, didn't you have something that you had to go get from the clerk, a deed or something had to get fixed? Am I thinking of someone else? I was just curious if you got all your stuff, you had everything that you needed, right?
I don't know, I guess I'm not.
Life is painful here.
Might have confused with someone else.
Hopefully I have what you need.
We have it, no, we have.
Yeah, yeah.
I did bring a few documents, but they may not be what you're looking for.
I printed out all the deeds that we have.
That was a no deeded access. part.
There's no deeded access in Calais anyway. There
Okay.
may be
So you're
something,
confirmed.
maybe something we find if we went into the vault over in Woodbury and see that there's access to it from the Woodbury side.
Okay.
But we can't find evidence. There's no evidence in Calais.
That's what was my question. I remember when we spoke, you had a question about deeded access.
Right.
Basically.
And I've assumed that that's something that I would have to acquire if if somebody else, or if we wanted to actually start using the land, which we have not really done, so.
There may be there's legal access to it from the Woodbury side, because that parcel came originally from a Woodbury parcel.
And I did go to the Woodbury town
Did you?
office and
And
did a
look-
little research quite a long time ago. And
Okay,
I got the names of the adjoining landowners there.
Yeah.
That's all I was
okay,
really thinking of, to see if they could tell me who had needed access. So,
Yeah.
actually, I didn't know that term at the time either, so, yeah. Well, I want to thank you all for your time. I know my husband did a lot of town jobs over the years, select board and, various, he was second constable for a while but his favorite job was being a lister, which I guess there's some similarities to what you folks. have
Lister
done.
Constable is the same.
Yeah.
He had the best time, he loved it. So that was the best thing he ever came up with, so.
Yeah, so your parcel is landlocked. And so
Right.
you're just interested in seeing if the value of it as a landlocked parcel is what is fair? Is
Well,
that,
that's where we are right now.
Right.
I had initially said, and I think in some of my documentations, I talked about this, that wanted to sort of hang on to it as something that would be like a little something for my son. For instance, if I were to sell the house and not live in the village anymore. But so far, I'm still right in East Calais where we moved in 1978. I'm still in that same house, but I thought that was a good little, didn't have any real use for it. And finally, about let's see, my dates. So I kind of tell the story quickly here. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but. So we bought the place in 78 and have lived there ever since. It's an old house, 1867, that was built for Ira Dwinell and his wife. Then in 1983, my husband, who was on the select board at the time, acquired this parcel at the tax sale that was in October. And it was recorded at the time as by Horace Duke, who was our the person we were dealing with and admired very much. It consisted of 6 acres in Calais, right on the Woodbury line.
Yeah.
So we've paid taxes on it regularly ever since. Not a great deal in taxes because it's unimproved. And then in 2014, my husband passed away, and so the whole subject of the ancient roads came up. And apparently that the road may have actually run through my property at one time, called the Dodge Road, according to some of the documents I've seen. But the town decided not to maintain the Dodge Road at that time. And by this time, they were showing the property as 7 acres, which is interesting on the maps that I see. Then in 2015, we hired Paul Hannon, thinking we ought to go see the property and get a little bit better handle on what we had for the family there. And he started a survey, which is kind of a lot of good information, but not really definitive. And now this year, I'm seeing that the town map shows the property is consisting of 5 acres, which is interesting. So we haven't bought or sold anything, but it seems to have.
what did
I don't
Paul's
see how
survey
this is gonna
say?
happen.
What did Paul's survey say?
Yeah, he was looking at the 7 acres that we had.
It's probably
identified.
5 acres in Calais and 2 in Woodbury, maybe?
I'm sorry.
Is it 5 acres in Calais and 2 in Woodbury?
I think it all abuts to the Woodbury town line.
Mhm.
I think that's it. I don't think there's.
Boy, I don't recall changing acreage on that
No, I don't
parcel.
either.
Maybe it's just better information or something. I don't know.
You'll see 2 acreages listed, GIS acreage and deeded acreage, and the GIS acreage may have changed.
With deep, yeah,
How does
yes.
that work?
Well, they take their best shot at what the borders of the parcel are, and then now with computers, they can get down to a hundredth of acre, how many acres are defined inside that line,
Mhm.
where in the old days, it might have been 6 acres plus or minus, and who knows how big the plus or minus swing was there.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
But on the maps, if it says, AM says survey, that acreage is probably pretty close to the GIS acreage. If not the same.
But it's neither here nor there, I think, really. It just was interesting that the size of the parcel seemed to change over time. And my son and I have been thinking about approaching the adjoining landowners to see if we should acquire that deeded access, which would probably make it more valuable than it is now, but that's something you folks know more about than I do, so that's kind of where we stand. I did try to fill out the form and I thought to come up with a couple of comparisons, but I didn't see anything that was quite like this.
Well, the immediate neighbor is also landlocked.
That's Mr. Bean,
That's Jody's, okay.
yeah.
So how does he get to that property?
Well, I think he has land close enough to it that if he wanted to go there, I don't know, that's a
I
good.
didn't see it on the parcel viewer. I didn't see that. It looked
Well,
like
that's another
Jody
question
owned
I
a
could
little.
ask, yeah.
I thought his chunk was like 7 acres. I don't have my phone, so I don't have parcel viewer up. I don't know. You have a
Well,
parcel viewer on that?
What do you-
Are you looking for the map for hers?
Mhm.
Looking for parcel viewer, so neighbors.
That's all I have.
Okay.
You want
If you're a parcel viewer. Do you?
Yeah, what's this span, what's her span?
Okay, she'll have more than I have.
Yeah.
I have the date on this, but this shows Bain being here,
Yeah.
and then another landowner here, and I don't know what's down this way.
I looked at all those adjacent properties.
This is 7 acre. Yeah. Who knows?
Say 7 AS or AD? Or it doesn't say anything.
I think that says 6. 6 acres deeded.
ES deeded.
Yeah, and Jody just selling deeded. And that's Hannah Smith. And then this is Jody down here, right?
As far as I know. I
Yeah,
don't
or
know
was that some form of vein? Right. And the adjacent property, I believe is
Yeah.
also landlocked,
Yeah,
so it should be.
you know how to work that, you know.
And this is something that you and I discussed, James, when I was here, was the fact that it's landlocked.
Right,
And
yeah, and I put in the notes, the question, and these are my notes from last week, that's why I was asking, if we were able to find out. I put that you were gonna come back, we were gonna check your deed, cause you can't sell a land parcel, it's a non-conforming lot.
So I think these both.
There has to be a way to get to it.
This is the
Yeah,
Woodbury.
according to the state of Vermont, it would be considered
These
a
both
non-conforming
belong
lot.
to this parcel here. We did the research.
so it should say
Can you
somewhere in the
see,
deed.
Old road.
The deed should say where it's accessed, there should be a include right of way or easement through parcel.
I don't think
such
the
and
road,
such to
road right
access
through the
it.
middle.
The only way you can access something like that is if it was a wood lot,
There.
and the select board could
It's like a million
designate
years ago.
a
that
right of way for you to get your wood out, if it was not
That's, an
conforming.
issue.
I see.
So there are ways to access it to harvest timber, but as far as to sell it for someone to build a house on it, that's something
you
that would
couldn't
have
do
to,
that.
yeah, you'd have to get it deeded right away or an
Probably
easement.
not.
And I was thinking that might be the thing to do anyway, you know.
It
other-
would make it more valuable,
Certainly.
because you're not gonna get anything if it's a non-conforming lot. Right? Yeah, sell a non-conforming lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it shouldn't even exist.
I mean, you might be able to get in a butter to buy it, right?
Yeah, well, Hannah Smith's not gonna buy it,
Yeah.
but Jody might.
Jody might. Jody has access, yeah.
I don't know. This is Jody's parcel. I don't know how he gets to that.
I think he has
I don't think this says anything about access here.
Yeah, it would say that there was a deeded access or right away. It would
I
mention.
found no reference to deeded access in the Calais gates.
Right.
So. Yeah, I mean, until that gets straightened out, what's it worth, right?
Not a lot.
No, you can't. Who's gonna buy it? I mean, I wouldn't give you a penny for it unless I can get to it and build on it,
Yeah.
or do something with it.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I can't even get to it, even if I wanted to buy it, to hunt on it, 6 acres, you know, I'm not 6 acres. But even if you wanted it to go camping on, how do I get to it, right? Legally, I can't. Yeah, that's our problem with it. Yeah, if there's no deeded access, it's not worth a whole lot.
Hopefully, there is a solution for that.
Oh, yeah, we just gotta figure it out, we gotta figure out what's been done, yours isn't the only one, there are a bunch of
Oh,
them.
is that right?
Yeah, there's thousands of them in the state, yeah, I've dealt with this before.
Mhm.
You don't own a helicopter or anything, right?
you can do drones
I never
now.
thought of that.
It's about your only option at this point, right?
Drop in by parachute.
What I was gonna say, if you jump in or something.
Property, yeah.
That's, I mean, technically, if your neighbors didn't like you and said, don't come on my property, you can't get to it.
Hand smell.
That's right.
Yeah,
Be
it kind
nice
of
to the neighbors, that's great.
puts a damper on selling it, you know? For our perspective anyway, it doesn't make it worth a lot of money, we just.
Yeah,
need
but
to sell it.
this is over, but
Right.
He's got access too.
he's got a camp on it.
We'll take a look at that.
So in your opinion, as a group, that it's overvalued? I would throw it as a-
67,000.
At 62, I think,
62.
but yeah, I think it's way over. Yeah. It was in at 7,900 before.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have some other small lots in town, and one of the other towns that we just finished, I've gone through this as well, just this year, so, yeah, they're not worth a lot. It's a gamble. Just a matter of talking about it and looking at some other examples, yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it's coming down, right? Because they're all,
Yeah.
it's gonna go way down.
Well,
It's not going to zero yet, but
Yeah.
might be close.
Well, it's in Calais, that makes it
It's
special.
gonna be some, at least $1, right?
Yeah, there's,
Yeah.
you know,
Let's hope it's then. That's all.
stigma is the word that they would call it, if you go to a formal thing and I had to write something up, but it'd be a few words, and stigma would be the one. It's like having an oil tank in the ground. They're gonna come take samples every 10 years, I have no idea what's going on for the next 10 years. Same thing with this, is it worth something or not? Maybe a neighbor might buy it, maybe not, who knows? But, you know, we don't know,
If he's using it in camp, he's not there.
Yeah, that's true.
I have
That's a
no
question
idea,
right there.
yeah, there's no answer,
Well,
really.
we did walk it with,
You don't need a septic.
with Paul Hannon, the
Use
surveyor,
for days.
and it's very pretty, got permission from the next
That's all.
door neighbor.
Mhm.
Took a hike and it's really quite beautiful, so.
Yeah, and you know, you might get along great with your neighbor and he might have no problem with you doing that, but the day you go to him and say, yeah, I'm gonna sell that, and they're gonna build a 3,000 square foot house in your back, he's gonna be like, yeah, I don't know about that, right? So
Well,
I don't know, maybe he'd say,
well, they'd have to have a helicopter.
it's just,
go
we
see
don't
their
know,
house.
that's the thing, we don't know. So we just need to just follow suit
That would
and
have
use
to
the
be
same
pretty-
methodology that we used before, that's all.
Good. Any other concerns other than that?
Well, I was trying to think what I would, think was a comparable value, but judging by what else I see, which it's hard for me to tell what's really comparable to this property.
Yeah.
Marla,
Yes.
can you get a parcel ID for the adjacent property? It's right next to Karen's, there's a 7 acre parcel that's similarly landlocked.
Yeah,
I
that
think-
little
I
other
think-
little square one.
I think it's 100,200 that I put right on my form here.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
And
one-
that's
one-
good.
One 10, 200.
Yep, Joe Bain.
Okay, you want the span number? You said?
Oh, and you've got this new value down here. Oh,
Yeah,
Karen
she has
already
it all
did
filled
this.
out already.
I'm surprised.
Did your work.
Jody's new value is 65,000.
but he's kind of in the same boat, you think?
Exactly the same boat, as far as I know.
Yeah, good. Any other concerns?
I guess I wasn't sure, if I were to try to go ahead and sell it, I guess I would be guided by whatever
Yeah.
price
Yeah.
you folks come up with, but
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't be the one that you already have listed for me, so
Right,
I'm
no,
not quite sure, 62.5.
yeah, we've discovered other things that people brought to our attention that made the value change considerably, so.
Yeah,
We understand I've actually known about that property for a long time.
Really?
Because I was on the ancient roads and there was an ancient road
That's
that went
right.
up to it.
that was a while ago too, wasn't
And
it?
supposedly, if you throw up an ancient road like that, it still allows you to have access to it as the landowner because there was a way there. Town owned access, yeah. If the town throws it up, it still allows you to have a right of way, but I'm not sure what the legal issue of the right of way is, whether it's a width of the old road or whatever, so.
How would one determine that?
We'll go to the vault and look up, find
The ancient road. file.
find the ancient road folder and then find out where it actually is laid out. Paul Hannon worked on some of that, so he might be able to have some idea about that.
I think they're
And then you
organized
just
by
have to determine, legally, what's the approach that you need to say, I do have legal access and here's the route it follows, and that would be on Jody's land. But it would allow you to have legal access, but I remember that being an issue when we were talking about ancient roads.
That would be helpful, wouldn't
Yeah.
it, to me, that I
Yeah.
wouldn't have to.
Yeah, and that might change the value of the land, so be careful, because now that you find out you have an access to it, the taxes go up.
Yeah.
So. So right now, we're gonna assume that there's no legal access until it's proven otherwise.
Well, I guess that's what I've been assuming,
Yeah.
that, and I think.
So
what I
we'll
said-
assume that too until you bring us other information.
And this Joseph Bain guy is in the same situation, you think? There's nothing in the notice.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure. We did the right thing.
So I would go to the clerk's office and ask to see the ancient roads files.
Right, and then you'd find the one, what was the name of the road?
Dodge
It was
Road.
Dodge Road? So you'd wanna pull that folder and then look, there's somewhat of a map and listings and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And then, once you determine that road, as it's laid out on the right of way, goes to your property, then you would have to determine what's the legal, when the town throws it up, what's the legal responsibility? Because essentially the town is creating the landlocked. And the town can't do that when they throw up the road.
And you also have to try to research the properties that the ancient road runs through to get to your property.
Mhm.
Given the wacky shape of the parcel below, it looks like this property line was the road.
Yeah.
That's the road.
Yeah, it probably was. Anyway, so, yeah, so that would be your,
So where's-
But that's on me to go ahead and do that
All the way
research.
down Beaver Brook.
to your interest, yeah. Right now, we don't have that information, so we
Right,
can't make
right.
any decision about it.
And that was back in, I think, 2014, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Project, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big box with all of the ancient road stuff in it.
Yeah, I remember going to one of the hearings. It was really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do remember that point that the town, if it throws up a road, can't create a landlocked parcel
Mhm.
legally.
Wow. Well, that's true just for any property in the state.
Any road that was thrown up that leads to making a property
Mhm.
unattainable by right of way. There you go.
So I guess I'm sort of on hold. That,
No, we're gonna treat it like you don't have access, and whether you find you have access or not. The difference would be if you find you have access, then the property would be valued differently,
that would be wonderful, actually, in a way,
right?
you know, because it is hard to get to now, this,
Yeah.
we're right nearby. Okay. Well, that gives me a little homework to do.
Yeah, it's fun. The vault is fun to spend time in.
Do you have any other questions for me?
No, we're good. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know it's so
this
time
is your
consuming.
mail.
So, well, yeah, thank you. Yeah. And I have another copy of the